Hello, beautiful visionaries. This is Lorna Lee. I am so honored today to bring to you two old friends of mine from California, Rowan Gabrielle and Ayman Sawaf. Ayman and Rowan are the co-authors of a book called Sacred Commerce, which recently released an update. Ayman and Rowan are serial entrepreneurs. They've spent 25 years of building innovative and disruptive companies all over the world in the realm of education, media, and commerce. And they are now focused on sharing the gifts of sacred commerce and emotional alchemy with others. They will share with us today how to do sacred commerce in action, where we're going to learn about how we can achieve emotional mastery, how we can discover our inner assets, and how to work with resonance causation. Thank you so much for joining us today. I would love to hear about where you guys are right now with your work, and especially the specific problem that you solve for your clients.
Interesting question. We've definitely been actually in a major phase of disrupting our work and really kind of looking at everything new for ourselves and how we want to go into this next phase with all the incredible chaos and changes happening in the world. And we have a number of companies that we've founded ourselves. And as we looked at everything, we actually realized that we feel like it's more time for us to go into more of a coaching place and start working more as visionaries with other people, with other companies. So we're selling some of our companies and we're starting to work more with other people in building out their dreams and visions.
Yeah, we are absolutely been in a major disruption. For years, we've been telling people, disrupt yourself or something or someone will disrupt you. Change yourself before somebody forces you to change. And as we've been saying that, we have not been listening to our own words. So we got stuck into a major disruption. Luckily, we found out, Rowan reminded me, Ayman, we're going through a disruption. So we became conscious about it and we were able to do it consciously, thus really taking everything we've been working on, all our relationships, on, and putting it down, stepping back, seeing if it's aligned still with our purpose, what needs to go, what needs to move forward in a different shape and form. So we've never worked for clients, so we don't know what to tell you how we help other clients. But through that disruption came the ideas that we're getting a bit tired of being an entrepreneur for now 40 years. Every single day, 24/7, we just love being business people, entrepreneurs, creating all the time. So we had decided to take half of our time and dedicate it to helping others, passing on the baton to the next millennial generation and others who want to practice, put sacred commerce in action. So we launched recently sacredcommerce.com, which is a training, consulting, and business incubation platform to help anybody who is interested in pursuing sacred commerce.
So what would an ideal client be for you within your consulting and coaching business?
People that are obviously are doing work that's aligned with us. Like recently we worked with somebody who has a new book out about relationships and just helped him to really build out his vision for that. And because we have so much experience in building businesses, it's easy for us to see how people can, expand their work and obviously...
And certain problems.
Yeah.
Are you mostly working with solopreneurs, or are you wanting to primarily work with CEOs of larger companies?
Open to both.
Okay.
Yeah, we're open to both. We really like to support the next generation of entrepreneurs. Are they conscious entrepreneur or call them sacred entrepreneur? And but obviously our training is available and it's scalable and is customizable to any client. Could they be Google or could they be a solopreneur?
Would you be able to take somebody who is a solopreneur and help them scale their business to actually become a global organization with a team of employees?
That's what we do best. We can help people flesh their vision, help them monetize it, give it a business model, an exit strategy to really make it, take it globally. Because we lived in many countries, in all continents, and we had businesses in the Middle East, in Asia, and Europe, and America. So we are quite versed in a global economies.
Wonderful. Thank you for that clarification. I would love to understand more about what the practice of sacred commerce is. When I posted the summit to my Facebook, I had all kinds of people commenting. I was seeking, people who were the founders of sacred businesses, and the range of people that were recommended as, entrepreneurs representing that ranged from, Elon Musk and, Tesla, to companies that were actually much more like social enterprises. So I'd love to hear more from your point of view. What exactly is sacred commerce, and who is a sacred business entrepreneur?
It's a really good question. And, people often ask us, what can you tell us which businesses are doing sacred commerce? And we're like, well, no, we can't, because you can see what businesses are doing conscious commerce, because you can see their outcome. But sacred commerce is really about your personal relationship with your work, and using your work and your commerce, all those relationships, as a feedback mechanism in your own journey for your own growth. So it's really a very personal relationship that makes it the action of sacred commerce, because it's what you're giving to it and what you're receiving from it. And so we can't give you a list of sacred commerce companies.
It's people who are into sacred commerce, not a business.
Yeah.
The business reflects the intention, the purpose of the entrepreneur. People confuse sometimes. They think that sacred commerce is another nice term for conscious commerce, or just another, another lofty term, maybe cuter, but it's completely different. Conscious commerce is about creating a business consciously, where the means of how we do business count, not the what we get at the bottom line. So the 3 Ps came about. But sacred commerce is a business as your spiritual path. The return is not to people and the planet or to the money, but to you as a person. How does it make you more spiritual, more in line with your purpose and destiny, more loving, more caring, more understanding, more generous, good, beautiful, and true? If your business activities, the way you do your business, aligned with that purpose, then you are fulfilling sacred commerce. You are allowing your business to guide you on a spiritual path, So the old Egyptian, it was a religion for them. They were the merchant priests. They were priests who took business as their spiritual path. It's more like a spiritual current that goes into your own life. The last thing I would say is sacred commerce is the commerce of you. Between you and your thought and your feeling and your beliefs and your attitude and all of the stuff that makes up your resonance, the frequency of who you are. So sacred commerce is about always dealing with your inner commerce, with the commerce of you, the commerce behind the scenes that create all that activity. So it's going beyond conscious what and how to why we're doing this in the first place, and does it make us more loving?
I'm so intrigued by the merchant priesthood of Egypt, but before we go and explore that, I would like to ask some clarifications of what might be a sacred commerce business. So one of the concepts that came up is, could a sacred commerce business be, a religious business? For example, a business that sells Bibles, or, a business that has the evangelical orientation to the business.
Well, I think, as we said, a sacred commerce business is really very, very personal. It's about the individual who is running that business and their relationship to how that business is changing them. It's about the return to self. So it is very hard for anyone outside to judge whether a company is a sacred commerce company.
If that person who is running a Bible printing factory uses their business consciously to grow, which is unlikely in that scenario, and because conscious commerce, sacred commerce, takes off after conscious commerce. So you have to be first dealing with product that raises consciousness, and you need to have the means you use are not hurting the environment or people. But sacred commerce is the next octave of that. So anybody can be doing sacred commerce if they are conscious that they have feeling and emotions and thinking, and that all of that stuff create their own reality. For us, we do our business. We practice sacred commerce. We don't say our business is a sacred commerce. We practice sacred commerce because when we try to get a deal and it doesn't work, we try to raise money and something else happens, we are always getting all that feedback. Is it an issue of lack of receiving? Am I being arrogant here? Am I being... So all of that feedback that comes because we are always doing business, and we get so much stuff happens in business, as you know, phone calls, the lawyer, this or that. Why are we getting all this? Let's suppose I get sued, by someone. Suing is judge, is my father maybe coming to the raising up in me, So when we take and process everything, we receive feedback from the data we get in our reality. And then we do that, we process it, and then we act on it. We take responsibility for it. That is how we do sacred commerce.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that clarification, because one of the things that I have discovered in the spiritual, community is this idea that, to be in business and to be in a, running an organization or engaging in a capitalistic system is inherently unspiritual. And what I would say is it's actually even more challenging to be spiritual in the world of business, because you have all the stuff coming at you all the time. And even if you have the best intentions, you want to take care of your partner relationships. You want to be able to not be in conflict with somebody else, and then you're finding yourself having to lawyer up in order to negotiate those things. That can really test you as a spiritual person.
Yeah.
But you can add to that, spirituality can add to your business and make it more successful, more profitable, because spiritual tools and technique and how you create your reality, how you attract reality, and you change your resonance to change your reality, all those are spiritual truths and spiritual tools that you can apply them to add more profit and success in your life. It's challenging. I don't think it's challenging. I think it's easy. What's challenging? I scream all over the place. I'm a pure-fledged capitalist. I'm a capitalist. I know our capitalistic system has been corrupted and is falling apart, and there's a new paradigm coming up. But I never shied away from I'm a capitalist in the spiritual world, and I'm extremely spiritual. So that's have nothing to that. Just our spiritual system, like any paradigm, education, finance, look at crypto, all the paradigms are collapsing and falling apart, and new ones are rising.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear more about the merchant priesthood of Egypt. Where did that how do we know how they operated? What historical indications do we have, and how can we be modern merchant priests in alignment with this ancient tradition that you speak of?
Well, for me, obviously, when you go to visit Egypt and you see all the hieroglyphs and everything, the merchant priests are very well depicted in those hieroglyphs, and you'll see offerings been made. Probably the most famous reign is the reign of Queen Hatshepsut, and she was the queen that brought the merchant priests up to their highest level, and it was the equivalent really of a PhD in those days. So you would have to do all the trainings of all the priests, and then you could put on top of it to become a merchant priest. So that meant they were highly skilled in dealing with emotional issues, in dealing with conflict, in dealing with healing, and all of those things, because obviously if you're out and about and you're far from home and something happens, you need a lot of skills. So they made sure that their merchants were very, very highly trained. And what I love the most about it is that those merchants, their prime responsibility was to keep the peace and the prosperity of the nation. So everything that they did had to be for that purpose. That was their purpose. And so as they would go into, you know, a marketplace trading, they were, because maybe their neighbors hadn't worked to that degree with their consciousness, they would go in and they would feel what was going on emotionally, and maybe they would feel greed and anger and jealousy and whatever, and they would go and they would literally just meditate in the corner of the marketplace, suck in all that raw energy of all the people feeling greedy and everything, and then they would use their body as an alchemical changer, and they would send it back out as love and peace or calm or whatever the environment needed. So they were very, very highly trained, and that's in our emotional alchemy course. Those are the things that we work with people.
You can also find that there is God Bess, who is the patron saint of the merchant priesthood.
Yeah.
And what you really want to describe them more as, in today's, there will be the merchant guild.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, you know, in every cycle of evolution, the royalty, the leadership, the presidents, whoever, they always hanged around with the richest people in town. They financed their elections, they guided, and they came back to them, those leaders, to tell them, look, we need to run this country, but how do we do that? Business people who were experienced in larger systems, and so they guided the leadership, and the leadership schmoozed with all the wealthy people, not unlike today, not unlike 100 years ago. But sadly, or luckily, when it started in Egypt, the Queen Hatshepsut and all the other pharaoh, they were dealing with the merchants, the rich, wealthy people, but it was a priesthood. It was spiritualized already. So when the business guild, the business leaders gave advice to the pharaoh, it was not just to benefit from a law or that will be pushed in, or to benefit from a land deal and so on. They were really giving and making sure that the pharaoh's leadership is spiritualized. That is, and they always made sure that chauvinism is out of the way, because they knew chauvinism was the key to this corrupting all our systems.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot, there's little bits and pieces, and as Rowan said, on the murals. For example, in the murals that Rowan was talking about, Queen Hatshepsut, you will see the merchant priesthood, because they always wear a leopard skin on their shoulders. You'll see them standing in front of the queen, giving her the offering from all their expeditions, food and herbs and incense and so on. And all the other people in the mural are bowing to the pharaoh, except them standing tall, because they were highly respected as equal, you know, in the running the country. See, business people always, because business people, leaders, have the know-how how to run things. And that's why there's always this dialogue in our society. Should the business be run, should the government be run as a business? Should be just, there's always discussion for years. And in many ways, not really, but you need the skills of big business to run a country. If those business people like today are corrupt, a lot of them are, but a lot of them are not, then the government is corrupt. But if business is spiritualized, and those leaders, like the old merchant priests, would advise the pharaoh and the leadership in a completely new way, more balanced, more loving.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of that history. I find ancient Egypt just so intriguing and mysterious. So I'd love to hear more about emotional alchemy and how we can apply this to our business lives.
You want to share that, and I'll share how we do it, like I did with Karim.
Okay. Yeah. Well, emotional alchemy is really the ability to use the energy of your emotions as like electricity. So if you think of
It's like chemistry.
Yeah, exactly. When you put two items together, there's a chemical reaction and it creates a third. You're better at explaining this.
Okay. You know, when there's chemistry, everybody knows chemistry. When you put many compounds together, so when you put hydrogen plus oxygen, everybody knows it makes water, right? 2 hydrogen atoms plus 1 oxygen makes water. And we know that, you know, calcium plus salt can become this. And so emotional alchemy is the chemistry inside your brain. It's it's the chemistry that goes on in your heart and mind chamber. So when you feel any emotion, our brain secrete chemicals, secrete electromagnetic energies, you know, and when you put another, every emotion has a different signature, not unlike calcium and magnesium, each one have their different signatures as compounds. Emotions, anger, fear, jealousy, joy, each one that is felt secrete different chemicals. And like in chemistry, when the chemistry, for example, when the chemicals of joy falls over the chemical of anger, courage is created. When you have a joy over courage, passion is created, right? So how they used to do it, and an example how we did it, or I did it once. Rowan doesn't like me always to tell the same example. She wants another one, but I think this is the best one I have. You know how sometimes you are running after a project and you go, you're so excited, and like 90% goes in the same day almost, if not next day. And the last 10% take forever. We start procrastinating, we lose passion, time passes by, we lose interest, at least in my personality type. So it happened once, and I decided, well, I need to rekindle, I need passion, I'm losing passion. So I knew that anger plus joy equal courage, and courage plus 1 drop of joy, as they say the Egyptians, equal passion. So I closed my eyes and I conjure emotions at will. Most people think emotions just happen to them. They don't know that they can conjure it, call on it. So I call on anger. And you do that by remembering an instant that made you very angry. Once you get the memory and the picture, your brain, as dumb as it is, just secretes all the thing. It's there, like when you think of a lemon and you get sour mouth, you know. So I remember the time when my son gave me such a hard time, I was going to kill the son of a gun, you know. And I felt in my mind, and then let it go, just a few seconds to drop a little bit of anger. And then I left that, and then I thought, okay, I need to get joy. So I remember the time where my publisher called, told me that Executive EQ, the Emotional Intelligence book, was a bestseller here and there. And I remember jumping on the bed, screaming, and from so much joy, I was, you know, and then I forgot that memory. Now I got anger secreted, and then I had joy secreted. And you let it incubate for a little bit, you know, and then you open your eyes out of meditation, and you start feeling that passion. Okay, let's do it. You know, suddenly the whole energy changed, and you called on emotions that they were not there. See, we created alchemy. The Egyptians used to say 1 drop of joy over fear takes fear to the highest octave of concern. That's what really fear is the ability to have concern. 1 drop of joy over concern, jump you even higher to a higher octave. What's higher than concern? Compassion. Anger, 1 drop of joy over anger. Anger says, it's not happening the way I want to, I'm pissed. 1 drop of joy over anger takes it to courage, the courage that you need to correct the injustice, what went wrong. And 1 drop of joy over courage takes it to the highest level of anger, which is passion. Sometimes you feel people talking like really debating in a passionate way. You think they're angry, right? And sometimes you call anger passion. You know, they have so much passion. They're fighting all the time. So they knew how to about the chemistry in the brain, the alchemy, which is our scientists of the brain just figuring it out now. They're all realizing that, oh my God, emotions are secreted from the brain. They are energy in motion. They are electromagnetic energy. We are electrical beings. We are magnetic beings. And we can use all that energy in a very conscious way. It's not just emotion happened to us and we need to deal with the, oh, really? No, wow, I'm It's emotion. Let's get the energy. Let's get the magnetism. Let's mix it with another one. Let's create a new resonance that attracts different realities. It's an art.
So this brings up a big theme that I encounter when in conversations and, you know, working with spiritually conscious entrepreneurs or, you know, aspiring entrepreneurs, aspiring business owners, is that there's this idea that elevating your vibration to the magnetic vibration of abundance, or, you know, elevating your vibration and, you know, and visualizing the abundance and revenue that you wish is what is needed in order to actually generate a revenue or some revenue or income, especially that which they desire. And I'm curious to know whether this is enough, because it seems to me as a really pragmatic business person, it's like, okay, you know, there is having that vibration of greatness, of abundance, of being able to visualize your, you know, big audacious goals. But at the same time, you know, if you're wanting to generate more income in your business, you need to learn business strategies around sales and marketing, in addition to doing that, you know, deep personal, inner, emotional, alchemical work. What would you say to the vibration only camp?
Yeah. We agree with you 100%. I mean, obviously that is one really, really important thing, is to have your goals really clear and to vibrate with them. But around that, and this is what we would call your inner commerce, you need to see what all your feelings are around that. So, okay, so you imagine yourself having $1 million and 20 staff and an income of this and whatever, and then what feelings come up around that when you imagine that? If a whole bunch of anxiety comes up, then you realize that you need to learn some extra skills to be able to get to that goal. So it's really your inner commerce is the ability to have that inner conversation with all the aspects of self so that you know how they all feel towards your goals. So obviously your resonance is a huge key, but resonance is made up of the elements of all your many selves, your angry self, your happy self, your joyous self, your, you know, and that's really the conversation of sacred commerce, that internal conversation where you can map your way to those goals, and they're not just, you know, a visualization out there, but there's actually a roadmap that can actually get you from where you are to that beautiful lofty goal that you have. And knowing, knowing that everything that happens along the way, once you have chosen to do it in that path, is your feedback and is growing you. You know, sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, why did the universe do that today? And it's like, no, if you're in relationship with the universe in that way, that it's, you know, your response mechanism, then you're like, oh, okay, I'm not ready for that yet. And you look at it a different way and you see what those messages are, because you take them personally. You take them as your feedback mechanism on that journey to your goal. And it may be that that goal is really not appropriate for you. And if you're reading all your messages, you're going to find that out without it being like a massive disappointment. And you're going to shift that end goal, you know.
I could add to that is that what you're talking more about, a lot of people use this concept of the law of attraction. Yeah. I need to resonate with abundance if I wanted to attract it towards me. And I do believe in that, albeit I think with a different underpinning. We have a resonance. And our resonance is made up of thoughts, feelings, beliefs, choices, decisions, and attitude that we do. All of those come together, right? One negate one, one add to one, right? And now we have a resonance. If my resonance says, I want a relationship or I want abundance, and in my relationship, I want it to be loving and intimate and sexual. And then what I get in my reality is intimate, loving, and maybe sexual, but a lot of guilt and self-pity and martyr complex with it, you know. So I can go back to my resonance and I say, okay, I have martyrhood issues, I have self-pity issues here. So you can take them out, as Rowan was saying, and your resonance, your vibration is stronger now because you have deleted low frequency energies. And instead of that martyr, self-pity, or guilt, you put in oomph energies, joy, more fun in your life, more happiness, more pampering. Those high quality, high octane fuel, and deleting the low octane fuel, suddenly you're resonant, you're resonating, you're vibrating at a higher frequency. Now, I suggest that forget just abundance, but if you just work on all of them, vibrate with a higher frequency by doing your inner commerce. Always process, clean, move forward, change, and your resonance will always be higher and more, and you'll attract everything that you want, not just abundance. And you mentioned abundance, and you added to it, well, how much money do I need? And as if abundance was about money. Abundance is defined in sacred commerce as having access to resources, the time you want, the way you want, and the amount you want. We don't have to pile up all that money in the warehouse. I need a project, I'm thinking about something, and suddenly I get an email from somebody, introduce me to somebody. I need to raise money for this project, people are available there. See, it's having access to all those resources. And prosperity, which is often confused with abundance, is the sharing and the enjoyment of that abundance. Okay? So this way, when you have your resonance always cleaned up every day, doing your inner commerce, that means it's the commerce of your resonance. That's what inner commerce. You are vibrating with a higher frequency that's attracting to you whatever you want. Is it abundance or relationship? Because whatever you ask for is going to go through that resonance to manifest here. So if you want $1 billion or $1 million, and when the money comes in through your resonance, when that future comes through your resonance to manifest here in your reality, then if there is a belief that says money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are filthy rich, or it's very hard to make money without investment, then click, 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 that million become 800,000, become 300,000, become 50, and then down you got 25,000 instead of the million. It's just because it has to go through the lens, through your resonance to manifest here. You attract what you want, you can call it anything, but once it goes down here, before it manifests, it has to be colored by your resonance. It has to come out as you can accept it, because you have put all those conditions which are in your resonance to have it manifest. So just for, not only abundance, keep doing your inner commerce, and we teach that in the training, how we create through cause and resonance causation. That's what it is. We had all cause and effect in the past. Cause and effect, very long, very hard, very dying, and to a new paradigm of causation called resonance causation. You resonate with the future, but you bring it through your resonance. And if your resonance is super high frequency, then they will manifest. And if there's a lot of baggage, a lot of down, hurt from the past, hurt from whatever, it keeps taking them down, and then you end up with what you think you deserve.
That's interesting. So just to clarify then, how exactly is resonance causation different from the law of attraction? If you could just simplify so that we can understand, that would be wonderful.
For me, it is a bit have more depth, meaning you really have, it's not, oh, I want to resonate with abundance, I'm just imagine myself the abundance. So, okay, this kind of come, but where does it go? Okay, a lot of people have tried the law of attraction, and very, very few I know were successful at it. Because that's a bit shallow, it's simple, and it is not complex as the way I was talking about. You call on that. It's not enough to call and resonate with that stuff. It has to go through your resonance, has to go through you. And if it doesn't resonate with you because you've got a lot of stuff that rejected, if I have feeling I don't deserve or I'm not good enough, then you're not going to manifest whatever you resonate with. See, you have to resonate with something you want, absolutely. You want to desire it, and you want to expect it, and you imagine it, you have it, and you want to pull that resonance down with your resonance. But then you still have to have your own resonance right, clean, high frequency, zooming with joy, with fun, with service, with intimacy, with caring, and continuously, layer after layer, getting out of that victim mentality, that poverty consciousness, that, you know, all that stuff that does not serve us anymore, and they are low energy, they drag us down, you know.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that clarification. So we're coming to the close of our time together, and I would love to ask you, you know, the principles of sacred commerce. You know, what do you have a list of what these are? And perhaps if you could share some thoughts on how we could use these principles in our business life, especially when dealing with two factors that are difficult for entrepreneurs. One is overwhelm, and the next is conflict.
Well, conflict is easy. I mean, if you are emotionally literate, see, before you become to emotional alchemy, there is a prerequisite. You have to be emotionally literate, which is basically reading and writing emotions. And number two, you need to become fit, emotional fitness, and then emotional depth, then emotional alchemy. So to avoid conflict and to have good relationship instead, if you are emotionally intelligent, if you are emotionally literate, and you know how to read and write emotions, you know, I mean, to be empathic and to express them properly, then conflict usually goes away. Conflict is the lack of emotional literacy.
Yeah.
You know?
And you develop, once you develop the emotional literacy and emotional depth, you tend to develop much more emotional agility. So you're still going to come around all of those things. People are still going to, you know, feel jealous of you or feel less than or feel this or that around you. You're going to come up with these emotional conflicts in your life. But because you can read them so easily, you can discuss them with them and you can pass through them. So even if their emotional intelligence isn't super high, you have the ability to easily guide them through it as well. So it just allows you to deal with those conflicts in that they're going to happen. But the time of dealing with them when you have that emotional agility is much quicker, and that's why.
And less painful.
And less painful. Yeah.
As for overwhelm, is another one is very easy. You just meditate every day, 10 minutes, get your priority right, make sure you're aligned with your purpose, and then suddenly all the stuff that is not necessary will get out, and you are focusing on the priorities that are in line with what you're doing. Yeah,
because the truth is most entrepreneurs, us very much included, we have far too much on our plate. There's no way we can achieve everything we've set ourselves for, but in our relationship with the universe and our own growth, the right things come in at the right time, and every day we just prioritize, okay, if we only get these 2 things done today, we'll feel successful. If we can get the other 20 things on the list done, that'd be great, but we're not going to kill ourselves over it.
More like 2,000
well,
things
yeah.
on the list. But see, we don't do what we do necessarily just to make money. Obviously, we want money, we love money, we like money. But we're doing business for our spiritual growth, and that's what sacred commerce. Every day, okay, give it to us. What is there to learn today? Give us our homework for the day. And a phone call comes, an email comes, this has to be done. And how we respond to it. Do we respond in a loving way? Do we respond in a spiritual way? Do we respond
by shrinking?
By shrinking, or do we respond by shrinking, hiding, feeling guilty, and so on? The more we become emotionally literate, the more we build our emotional mastery, a lot of that stuff will disappear. You know, the overwhelm, the lack of abundance, all of that will disappear. And we're doing it for our spiritual growth. We're not doing business for fun, all that is fun. We're not doing it for the money, although we want the money. But it is really because of our spiritual growth. The more we create ideas, the more we manifest them, the more we make them real. That's where all the fun is, and that's where the learning is.
It's like there's a lot of books out there about relationships and how much growth you can get in a relationship, having that mirror of somebody else in your life all the time, and you know how it accelerates your spiritual journey. And absolutely it does, and having that intimate mirror is super important. But your business is also an even bigger mirror, and so the amount of feedback you're getting on your journey is far more rapid, and that's why we always call it an accelerated growth journey, because you're getting so much feedback
Yeah, many mirrors in the business,
Yes, indeed. Is there a list of sacred commerce principles somewhere that we can look over?
The training we have, the emotional alchemy, the emotional alchemist, takes you into 4 steps, 4 modules. The first one is, we call it the treasure map towards emotional mastery. That's where we start to put you on that path, which takes forever, but at least you're on it and moving forward.
That's where you start to find your emotional strength and power.
And processing and all that. The second one is called reclaiming your inner wealth. Okay, this is where their outer wealth, which everybody knows, capital, relationship, investment, and so on. And their inner wealth, your inner assets, your grace, the gifts that you're given,
your courage, your discipline.
Your beauty, your goodness, your self-values, valuable, your self-esteem, your self-confidence, all of those are assets. When you go for a job interview, they say, oh, this guy really have great self-confidence. That's a plus for the one who's being interviewed, right? It's not only the outside. Most of us have forgot to appreciate and value our inner asset and wealth. So first you get the energy, the information from emotions, and then you dig down and bring out your inner asset, put them on the table so you can use them. Number 3 is resonance causation, inner commerce. How to do that in more detail. And the last one, like any other smart businessman, besides having the energy and the information and the wealth and the assets and know how to create with causation versus cause and effect, the last one is I need a great partner. So we call it partnering with the pulse, partnering with beauty, goodness, and truth. And how do you use those? How you create a partnership with the divine, with the goddess, with God, and how you do that through beauty, goodness, and truth as the pulse, we call it, the pulse of all things. So you bring, like in my business, if I do a technology business, if I get Bill Gates with me as my partner, it does make a lot of difference, doesn't it? So yes, you can get energy, information, and magnetism. Yes, you can have your inner your values, your inner assets on the table, and yes, you learn how to create magically. But how about having another partnership, a partner along the way, which is the divine, which is the goddess, which is higher forces. Those are all in the training, the 4 modules.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your work. And is this a home study type of training, or
Yeah, it's an online training with weekly Q&As with us. So there is also input directly from us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're at the end of our time together, and I'd love to ask you about the free gift that you have for your audience.
So we're giving module number 1 from that training as the free gift, so people can just get an idea of what the training is like and see if it's for them.
Wonderful. Thank you.
The PDF for...
Yeah, that's in a different section.
Okay.
There's a PDF of there's a mini book where you can also get introduced.
Mini illustrated book about sacred commerce.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So an ebook about sacred commerce and the first module of your home study.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We'll put a link just below this video for those free gifts. Thank you so much for your time and all your hard work. I really appreciate connecting with you this time, and I look forward to possibly seeing you in Spain.
I think so. Now you're our neighbor.
Come on, you're in this guy.
I know. You guys are the neighbor.
You can swim here.
It's warm?
You can swim.
Oh, yes. Wonderful, wonderful. It's getting cold in Ibiza, but yes, I have yet to visit the mainland, and I really want to do a road trip. So I might be knocking on your door.
You're welcome.
Waiting for you.
Right. Thank you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.